Bar-Ilan University in Tel Aviv, why Israel does not recognize the ICC.
I think it's exactly because of the way in which the ICC can be manipulated. When the Rome Statute, which is the basis for the agreement for the ICC, was negotiated at the very last minute, the Arab League added what's called Article 49, which includes statements about population transfers and occupation and settlements. That was designed specifically as a form of political warfare against Israel. And this campaign, which unfortunately a number of European countries have contributed to by funding groups like Al-Haq and Palestine Center for Human Rights, all of which are advancing this agenda of using the ICC as a weapon against Israel, it is very specifically directed to promote the Palestinian cause and attack Israel. And so Israel has a very legitimate concern there.
Under what conditions would Israel recognize the ICC?
Israel was prepared and, in fact, was supported the idea of the ICC. To have an international criminal court is really the extension of the Nuremberg trials against the Nazi perpetrators of the Holocaust. You need to have, on a moral basis, some sort of international framework where you have countries that simply do not want or cannot try leaders who create these types of war crimes. But it's been twisted. It's been destroyed by those anti-Israel forces, both the Islamic organizations, including Iran, the Arab League, and the Palestinian Authority. So if that section of the Rome Statute was removed, then Israel would certainly be one of the first to join a real international criminal court, not a propagandistic one.
Now, Palestine being a part or not being a part of the International Criminal Court would not really change much on the ground. It's more a propaganda stunt, but clearly Israel is losing the propaganda war. And you may say, well, who cares? But aren't you afraid that in the long term the situation may be less favorable as a result of it for Israeli people?
There is a lot of concern, and although the Prime Minister has talked about a counterattack, really, that Israel's not going to be dragged before the International Criminal Court, and that whatever the use of the abuse of that framework is, it's not going to affect Israel. There's a lot of concern. It's connected to the campaigns to boycott Israel, to isolate Israel. And there is a lot of concern in Israel. We have to find a way to get out of this isolation. And here Europe can also play a role, a positive role instead of a negative role, not by threatening Israel, but by working with the reality of the situation on the ground to come up with something more realistic than the proposals up until now to change the status quo and the occupation, things like that. So there needs to be some more cooperation, and perhaps after the elections, that's a possibility, but it has to be realistic, not part of what we call Israel bashing.
That was political scientist Gerald Steinberg of Bar-Ilan University on the line from Jerusalem.